Title: The Cracks Beneath the Surface. It had been 7 years since Lee had last stepped foot in her family's old Victorian home in upstate New York. When the letter came, handwritten and stamped with her mother's perfume, inviting her to her father's retirement party, she almost tossed it into the trash. But something in her chest tugged, a mixture of guilt and unfinished business. The house hadn't changed. The ivy still crawled up the walls like a secret it was trying to whisper, and the front porch light still flickered like it always had. Her mother, Alina, stood in the doorway like a statue, perfect posture and sharp eyes, wearing pearls even though it was just past noon. "Lee," she said, like it was both a welcome and an accusation. Inside, the house was buzzing. Her sister, Angela, was flitting around setting up decorations, pretending everything was fine. Her brother, James, stood by the fireplace with a glass of scotch, even though it wasn't even 3 o'clock. Their father, Charles, the guest of honor, sat in his favorite chair, with a look that said he'd rather be anywhere else. Dinner was tense. Conversations teetered on the edge of collapse. Alina made passive-aggressive comments about Lee's bohemian lifestyle, and James rolled his eyes with the skill of a man who had perfected the art of contempt. It wasn't until the cake was brought out that everything began to unravel. Charles stood to make a speech, his hands shaking slightly. "I want to thank all of you for being here, even those of you who left." Lee's stomach dropped, but he wasn't done. "I also want to apologize. There's something I should have said a long time ago." Alina's head snapped toward him. "Charles, don't." "But he did. I'm not Angela's biological father." The room fell into a vacuum. Angela's fork clattered to the floor. "What?" Charles took a deep breath. "I found out when you were 3. I stayed because I loved you. I still do." Alina stood, trembling, her mask cracking. "You promised me." "You lied to all of us," James said, his voice low and dangerous. Alina turned on Lee. "And you? Don't think you're above this. You ran away instead of facing anything." Lee stood, her own anger flaring. "Because every time I tried to tell the truth, you shut me down. You covered everything up in that perfect little shell of yours." Angela backed away from the table, her face pale. "Who's my father then?" No one answered. Alina sank into her chair, suddenly looking much older. The party ended in silence. Guests awkwardly said their goodbyes and slipped out. Later that night, Lee found Angela sitting outside, smoking, something she never used to do. "Do you hate me now?" Lee asked softly. Angela shook her head. "No, I just don't know who I am anymore." Lee sat beside her. "None of us do." They laughed, bitter, broken laughter, but it was a start. The next morning, Angela didn't come down for breakfast. Lee found her still in her room, sitting cross-legged on her bed, with a stack of old photo albums. "Do you think he knows who it is?" Angela asked, without looking up. "I don't know, maybe, but I don't think Dad ever wanted to find out." Angela held up a photo of Alina at some black tie event, standing beside a tall man with a square jaw and kind eyes. "This guy," Mom wrote on the back, "David, summer of 1986. Lee leaned in. "David Hartley. That name rings a bell. Didn't he used to work with Mom at the hospital?" Angela's hands trembled slightly. "I need to know. I can't let this sit." Lee nodded. "Then let's find out."